Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and I am here flipping through my August planner lineup. So these are all of the August pages that I was able to put together. August was the month that I tried to get back into daily planning, into doing different sections in a Franken planner, so all the things. And so you'll see here as I flip through it that I have multiple sections. I'll talk about each of them and just show you all the pages. So there might be some sections that I do have to blur out just for privacy reasons, but I do my best to try to flip through everything so that way you can kind of see all the chaos and all the mess and everything for this video. So if you're here for all of the planner spreads after the pins, let's do it. So a lot of it is set up here in this big happy planner. It's a happy planner cover that I flipped inside out, so this is what it looks like on the actual front, and it's just flipped inside out just because I liked this color combination with the expander metal discs. These are like the strawberry color that released in the Go Wild like bundle, the drop bundle that they did release on the website. So I picked that up for this setup. And so yeah, that's the setup. You'll see here as I go through that there's a mix of sizes in here. So it's going to start off with classic, then it moves to big or letter size, and it just goes through all different sizes. I'm trying to use up all of my supplies here. So at the very beginning, I do have my nameplate and some goals, which I did move in here, but I haven't really been updating that. I do have a classic size set of like pages that I use to track future events. So we are in September right now. I basically, since we're already in September, all things that are for September gets moved straight into the September monthly, and anything that is October, November, December, and forward gets moved or written down in here. So I basically, once September 1 rolls around, like stop writing in here and just start with like October. So this should be taped together, but I do have it for all of 2023. I ended up just converting some like outdated pages and just drew a line to like designate each week, and it's been working out fine for that. And then for my personal catch-all section, which is my first section here, I was using Tool Daily Pages. And so these pages are essentially like a daily on one page with a long hourly, a to-do section, a top priorities, and a notes section. So of course I've been putting events and like any major tasks that I've had, I've been kind of like tracking here. Then top priorities are any events that don't have a time yet, so I just kind of put them here and then move them to the time and with like a little check mark. And then of course tasks, and then notes has kind of been a flex section where I've sometimes kept budget, sometimes kept social media, so you'll see that as we flip through. Now in the first couple of days of the month, like August 1st was when we actually moved, and so I didn't even use these pages. I'll try to remember to like put up like what I was using, but I was basically digitally planning in Remember the Milk, and so I have like basically all of my notes in there, and I just didn't bother transferring them over. It just didn't make sense. But I did have a couple of like notes that I pulled while we were in the new house. I have my planner supplies here in the new house, and so I wrote some things here, and all of this stuff will end up getting purged out, and I'll reclaim all the envelopes and things like that for like when I want to like recycle it or reuse it in other projects. I just pull out the old notes and just toss the notes, recycle the notes, and then just use the envelopes again. And so then this is where I start writing in my planner again, just like it says right here. And you can see here it's just pretty much all the notes, sticky notes, one random sticker, but mostly it's just pen to paper, right? And that's pretty much what it looks like all the way through. So I'll just do a quick flip through of all of this just so you can kind of see it. I did do really well in August with keeping up with it. Again, some random stickers here with keeping up with it, but sometimes I did like have some stuff that was in Google Calendar, it just made sense. Any notes that I had, I just kind of punched and put straight in there. I have notes about Sophia. It's just like all the randomness, right? I switched pins, and to me it's totally okay. Like, it's meant to be a functional planner. And so it's just all notes. And then I had a couple of things that I was doing for the house, of course. And so some of the like leftover materials, I just decided this was cute, so I punched it in and put it in here. I was still kind of like doing some like puzzles just to keep like with something fun. I just pulled a couple of random puzzle books to do that, random notes sheet, and then we did a tour of our neighborhood, and so these are some notes from that. That will be blurred out, some of it will, but we did a tour of like the country club that's attached to our neighborhood, so these are just notes from that. More puzzles, going back to the daily pages here, right? So that's kind of what it looks like for the entire month in my personal catch-all. right? And again, some puzzles, I didn't even bother punching those in, as you can see there, right? And then like kind of mid-month, like right around August 15th, August 16th, I decided to try to move the entire setup into a classic size. And so this is the cover from the classic size. I did have like smaller notes that were already there, and what I did was kind of like punch them like this along the top in order to get the pages to fit in there. In a classic size, it's of course a little bit smaller than the classic size cover you can see here, but that's what I did. And you can see it will last for just a very short amount of time before I decide to move it right back to the system that I was using before. I'll be breaking down this planner pretty much like right after this video, so there's no point really in like kind of putting things back on the discs, right? And that's that. Some micro sizes. This is an inventory. I actually pulled this out to kind of update with like a service log here, and I actually need to update this some more because we've had several people come out to do some more work at our new house. And so this is just my service log that is actually supposed to be in my home binder. And then I went through and cleaned out some of my home binder notes from the old house. So these are just like all of those notes. I did try to like transfer any notes that I thought would be still applicable to the new house to a brand new sheet, or like basically into like a random sheet of paper. And so these are again just clearing out like all those old tasks. Here's the 18th, the 19th, more randomness. Like, yes, I just saved everything. You can kind of see that here. That's what that looks like. Here's a random sheet of paper that I wrote on. The 20th, I actually did it for, it looks like about a week and a half, like this classic size conversion. And I think these are, I probably shouldn't flip that open. That looks like some notes from work, right? But it's just an email that I printed out. This will be blurred out, but like here's just like August 22nd and August 23rd. Right, and this is the divider that I was using for that, and that's when I kind of gave up on that. I decided, you know, let's just leave it as a desk planner and just leave it on my desk. And so went back to having it all kind of be on big, and I had already punched it for the entire month, but you know, it's just one of those things where it's a functional planner. I'm just going to ignore it. And writing in pen, pencil, all the things, right? Random notes on random sheets of paper. I actually did some decorating here, so yay me. Right, this is sermon notes, like it's on like half sheet. It's basically a letter size folded up, but I'll have to blur that out. And then I was working through the Declutter 365 challenge, and I decided to pick it back up with August 1st just because we had moved houses. And so this is me just marking out some of those things. All right, and if there's anything that I'm mentioning that I don't end up linking or like giving you additional information for, just leave me a comment and I will certainly let you know more about it. But again, it's just pretty much functional, right? I just write down all the things. I like to journal about my day, things like that, you know, and so that a lot of it is just kind of that type of stuff, right? Then here is kind of wrapping up the end of August, right? So those are the end of my daily pages. I do have a whole stash here. This is all going to be blurred out because it's like financial notes. But it's a whole stash of notes that need to go into my current Franken planner. Actually, I didn't finish these tasks. They're all like financial notes or like bills or things I need to update from like old house to new house, and then like the rest of the Declutters 365 calendars and some other notes. And basically I just need to pull all of this out and put it into my current Franken planner. And so that's all there. Again, that needs to be blurred out. All this needs to be moved. And so after this video, I basically will go through and clean it out. All the things that I can pretty much toss, I will just toss. And anything that I need to move into the new planner, I will move into the new planner. And then anything that I can save and reuse at a later date, like the discs, the covers, the envelopes, that kind of thing, will go back into storage. Okay, so that was my personal catch-all, and that's the longest part just because it was daily planning with like lots of different notes that I'm just kind of punching in and putting in there. This next section, which I just use a random divider, decide, commit, succeed, this was my food log, and so I was using like the at a glance daily pages. I've had several people ask me about this, so I'll definitely try to remember to link this. Again, ask me if I forget to do it or put it in the description. But these pages, I did see like just in the past couple of days that they have released the 2023 pages, and I'm kind of waffling whether I should pick it up or not. But for these pages, again, like for the first couple of days, I was just doing digital planning, so it's going to be empty. I should zoom in a little bit more. It's kind of like far out here, but for the first couple of days I just was doing digital planning, and so they're quite empty. I didn't use it initially for like on-the-go planning too. This right here is just the beginnings of me getting back into using this, and that was just on a random sheet of paper. I'm not quite sure why, but then it's just me again, pen to paper, logging all the things that I'm eating, and then like doing my blood testing, trying to do it every like the hour after like I'm supposed to, but sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes I forget. Yeah, but it's just all the notes. I try to keep very detailed records of like what I eat, just in case my doctor asks any questions about it. I have a record of all of it. But yeah, like again, just a quick flip through. Again, these are the at a glance pages. I do try to use the hourly to mark exactly when I ate, so that way I know when I should be doing my blood testing. But sometimes that doesn't work because like it ends at 5:30, so I just kind of like make my own time on this side, as you can see here, and I just keep tracking. And you know, it's not meant to be pretty, but it is absolutely functional. And so I'm just flipping through all this so you can see it, but it looks pretty much exactly like this all the way through August. And again, I was really good in August about keeping up with pretty much all of my planners, all sections: the personal, the food log, my budgeting, and when I picked back up the social media, I did really well with keeping that up as well. So those 4 sections were really helpful to me in the month of August. I'm also noticing here as I'm flipping through this that I have all these classic size dividers, top tab dividers that I have been searching for. Of course, duh, they were in my August Frankenplanner. So definitely when I break this down, I'll be able to move some of them to my current setup so that way I can use them. Right, so here is the top tab divider for that section. Right, and then zooming out again. Oops, that is definitely not zooming out, that's zooming in. For this next section, I'll probably have to zoom right back out, but this is the big divider that I was using. Don't be busy, be productive. And this section was budget. So budget, I did initially want to try to go back to classic size, and so I did set this up, or at least I didn't set this up. This is for like a really old one, but I ended up not using it at all. Like there's some old notes that I just crossed out. You can see here, I just didn't use it at all. And again, some old notes. I need to just take these down really and just kind of use them like that. So these were just in here and I just never used them. I did use this one page right here to track a couple of items from the new house, but I ended up not using it all that often and really just kind of ended with the first few days, you can see there. And so then what I ended up doing was kind of using random pages to track all of my budgeting. And these are the random pages that I had one sheet of this one with my food log. So again, I just kind of like use it as I needed to, but like I started here basically with the 5th, and what I do is just write down where I went, what I spent, like the dollar amount that I spent, and then I kind of subtract it from like the category as I need to, and so that was that. Then I have a classic size folder. You can see here, this says MML is some personal like financial information, like records and things like that. So I actually made this to put in my home binders, so that's just randomly like stuck in there. But then it goes back to just like logging the way I described to you earlier. Right, and then I have some extra pages in here. These are all empty pages. And so again, because I didn't use this, I'll just pull it out and put it back into storage to be able to use at some later date. Okay, so last section here then is going to be social media. Again, zooming out and zooming back in. Hopefully that's not making you dizzy. But this one says go with the flow. This is the last time I'll be using these set of dividers because I am moving into a classic size. That was my previous video. So yeah, it's going to be, I mean, I like to just put it in storage and reuse them, so it will eventually come back into the rotation, but for right now it's not going to be used in September. Right, so this was my list of social media ideas. I found this sheet in like 2020 and I just updated it for 2022 with like all the ideas. I'm going to go back in and like pull this and basically put it in a spot that's very highly visible so that way I can see it and use it. And then this was when I decided, like August 15th was when I converted everything to classic for my personal, and so I decided at that time to go ahead and add back in a social media section, and I'm using a color block layout from the Happy Planner, as you can see here. This is actually the only Happy Planner section that I have, excluding like the very beginning, like perpetual calendar. So everything else is dividers and stuff like that, yes, but like everything else is just kind of a mix of everything else that I have in my space. So yeah, if there's anything that you saw that you're like, I need to know what that is, I want to know what that is, just let me know and I'll try to link it for you. But this is when I picked back up with social media planning. I just decorated this. I really love this palette. I did want to try to get back into decorative planning, and so this was like my one attempt at it because as you saw, everything else is very functional. And so this was my one decorative planner, just trying to get back into the swing of things. And I feel like here I can mess up a little bit and not have it be like a permanent thing because I use it Obviously, I like to decorate it, but these pages I won't keep long term. I'll probably take a look at it, see if there's any like old ideas that I want to keep using, but I'll probably just end up throwing away the planner pages, or recycling them once I'm done pulling out all the old notes. Right, and so this is what this looks like. This week was kind of an interesting week because the transition was August 31st and then September 1st is right here. So I found these kind of like, they're just meant to be there. I was actually planning to like add some stuff and like write to-do list here, but I never did that. But what I'm probably going to do is actually pull these two, September 1st through the 4th here, and just kind of stick that into my September Franken planner. And I did actually use this page right here for the beginning of September. This is September 5th, 6th, and 7th. And so, yeah, so this is actually the page. I definitely have to move this page for sure into my Franken planner for September because I'm using it. But it will also be shown in the September flip through. Yeah, so that is my flip through of the entire thing. Again, after this video, I'm going to be breaking this down, putting the things in recycling that goes into recycling. I do tend to recycle my pages. I don't keep them long term for any reason. Just as you can see, they're pretty functional, with the exception here of my social media. But even with social media, I don't tend to decorate it, so that was just for fun. But most of the pages are functional, and so once I pull off all the old tasks that I need to do, I just move it to a new sheet and throw away these old pages. So everything else though, like the old pages, I will throw away or recycle, but all the other stuff like accessories, dividers, covers, discs, all those types of things get put into storage, so that way I can reuse them at some other point. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some ideas for how you can Frankenplan and also just be a functional planner and get all the things done. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.